The text message arrived on a Thursday morning while I was sorting inventory in the stockroom. An unfamiliar number with a local area code. Normally I'd delete it, but something made me open it. Is this Marcus Chen? I'm Sarah Whitmore from Whitmore's Antiques on Market Street. I think I have something that belongs to you. A vintage brass compass. My stomach dropped. That's not possible. I have Papa's compass, don't I? I pulled out my backpack where I kept it during shifts. The worn leather pouch was missing. Hello? I called the number immediately. The compass, my voice cracked. It's gone. I was worried about that, Sarah said gently. Could you come to the shop? There's something you should see. I'd rather show you in person. I told my manager I had an emergency and left. Papa's compass, the only thing he'd specifically bequeathed to me, had been in my bag yesterday. I checked it every morning like a ritual, tracing the engraved words on the brass surface. To my grandson Marcus, may you always find your way home. Love, Papa Chen. He'd carried it through Vietnam, through his immigration to Canada, through decades building his restaurant business. Even when Alzheimer's started stealing his memories, he'd clutched that compass like an anchor. On his last lucid day, he pressed it into my hands with surprising strength. This is yours, Mark. Only yours, remember that. That was 4 years ago. 3 years before Mom married Gerald. 2 years before Gerald's daughter Paige moved in with her influencer dreams and her talent for taking things that weren't hers. Whitmore's Antiques occupied a converted Victorian house downtown, the kind of place where history had price tags. Sarah Whitmore was younger than I expected, maybe 50, with kind eyes behind tortoiseshell glasses. You have his cheekbones, she said when she saw me. Your grandfather. He used to bring pieces in for appraisal sometimes. Jade figurines, old photographs. He was a gentleman, always patient with my questions about provenance. I managed. Sarah went to a safe behind the counter and returned with a velvet-lined case. Someone brought this in yesterday. Said it was a family heirloom she inherited and wanted to sell. She opened the case. Papa's compass looked smaller than I remembered, diminished somehow outside its leather pouch. I deal with estate sales constantly, Sarah continued. But something felt off. So I called a collector friend who specializes in military compasses. He confirmed what I suspected: this particular model, with this specific engraving, was documented. She pulled out a folder. Your grandfather actually had this compass authenticated 15 years ago when he considered donating it to the Vietnamese American Heritage Museum. They have records. My hands balled into fists. That's when I knew the seller was lying, Sarah said. But there's more you need to see. She picked up the compass, and with practiced fingers, applied pressure to a hidden seam. The base rotated, revealing a secret compartment I never knew existed. Inside was a tightly rolled piece of rice paper. I haven't read it, Sarah said. If your grandfather hid it this carefully, it wasn't meant for strangers. I unrolled the paper with shaking hands. Papa's handwriting, still precise despite his age when he'd written it. Marcus, if you're reading this, the compass has been taken. Go to my storage unit. Northern Star Storage, Unit 288. The key is hidden inside my wok, the one with the dragon handle. The compass is yours, but what's in that unit is your inheritance. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Remember what I taught you: the treasure isn't gold, it's knowing your worth. Papa. You okay? Sarah's voice brought me back. I need to buy it back. How much did she offer it for? Sarah shook her head firmly. The woman who brought it in, blonde, early 30s, talked constantly about her lifestyle brand. I gave her $200 as a hold deposit while I researched authentication. But I never processed the sale. She slid the compass across the counter. Take it. It should never have left your possession. I can't just. Your grandfather helped me once, Sarah interrupted. Years ago, when I was starting out, I bought a collection that turned out to be mostly reproductions. I was devastated, nearly bankrupt. He heard about it somehow and offered to consult for free, help me identify the few genuine pieces that saved my business. Her eyes glistened. He never asked for anything in return. Consider this paid forward. I left clutching the compass, my mind spinning. Papa's wok was still in Mom's kitchen. She'd wanted to donate all his cooking equipment, but I'd fought to keep his favorites. The dragon-handled wok had been his prized possession, bought in Hong Kong decades ago. But first, I needed answers. I found Mom and Gerald in the dining room with Paige, laptops open, looking at what appeared to be spreadsheets. They all looked up when I entered, and I caught it, the flash of panic on Paige's face before she forced a smile. Mark. What are you doing home so early? I set the compass on the table. Dead center. Looking for this. The silence felt suffocating. Where did you find that? Mom's voice was too high, too bright. Where did I find the compass you let Paige steal from my bag? The compass she tried to sell for her jewelry line startup? The compass that was the only thing Papa left specifically to me? My voice was eerily calm. Is that what you're asking, Mom? Now, Marcus, Gerald stood, hands raised like I was the threat. Let's not throw accusations around. Paige needed seed capital. This was just borrowing. Her third business after the subscription box that folded and the print-on-demand disaster. This one's different, Mom cut in. She has a manufacturer interested, a real business plan. Funded by theft. It's not theft, Gerald's jaw tightened. We're a family. Families help each other. Like Paige helped me by stealing Papa's compass? Oh wait, she didn't ask. She just took it. You're being dramatic, Paige finally spoke, flipping her hair. It's just an old compass. I was going to tell you. When? After you'd spent the money on more ring lights and packaging supplies? Mom stood, her expression hardening into something I barely recognized. You don't understand pressure, Marcus. You have your little stockroom job, your simple life. Paige is building something. She needs support. There it was. The truth she'd been dancing around since marrying Gerald. I was stable, boring, unambitious. Therefore dispensable. Paige had dreams, followers, potential. Therefore entitled to everything, including things that weren't hers. I want the money back, I said quietly. Every cent she got or tried to get for it. Gerald actually laughed. She hasn't sold it yet, obviously, since you have it. So no harm done. She attempted to sell stolen property. That's a crime. I picked up the compass. I filed a police report this morning. Either she pays for her attempt, call it $500 in damages for my time and distress, or I pursue charges. You wouldn't. Mom went pale. Paige could get a record. It would ruin her brand. Paige committed a crime. That's on her, not me. After everything we've done for you? Mom's voice turned shrill. We took you in when you couldn't afford your own place. I pay rent. Market rate. Plus I buy my own food. We're your family. Papa was my family. This compass was his legacy to me. And you let them treat it like a prop for Paige's Instagram aesthetic. I left them arguing and went to the kitchen. The wok hung on its designated hook, exactly where I'd insisted it stay. The dragon handle unscrewed. I'd helped Papa tighten it 100 times over the years. Inside the hollow handle, wrapped in plastic, was a small brass key with a number, 288. Northern Star Storage was on the edge of town, one of those sprawling facilities with orange doors and combination locks. The manager, an older man named Robert who remembered Papa, didn't ask questions when I showed the key. Unit 288 was climate-controlled, medium-sized. Inside were 4 items: a locked metal box, a binder, a framed photo of Papa and me at my high school graduation, and a letter propped against the frame. I read the letter first, sitting on the concrete floor. Marcus, if you found this, you discovered my insurance policy. Your mother doesn't know about this unit. I opened it when you were 16, when I saw how she looked at you after the divorce, like you were a burden she got stuck with instead of a son. The metal box has savings bonds I bought every year on your birthday. Face value $50,000, but they've been maturing. Should be worth $75,000 now, maybe more. The binder has documentation of debts owed to my restaurant, payments I never collected because I trusted people. About $30,000 there if you want to pursue it. But here's what really matters: I didn't leave you just a compass. I left you direction. Direction to build the life you want without depending on people who don't value you. Direction to leave situations that diminish you. Direction home to yourself. Your mother is not a bad person, but she measures worth by noise and attention. You are quiet, thoughtful, like me. That doesn't make you less. It makes you observant, strategic, strong. Use this wisely. Remember, the compass isn't just brass and glass. It's a reminder that some people will try to spin you around, make you lose your way. Stay true to your own north. All my love, Papa. P.S. If that girl you're seeing, the one who borrowed your car and returned it on empty, is still around, dump her. You deserve better. I laughed through tears at the postscript. He'd been right about Jennifer, who I'd finally left 6 months after Papa died. The bonds were there, exactly as promised. The binder contained meticulous records in Papa's precise handwriting, including one name that made me sit up: Morrison Restaurant Supply, owing $12,000 for industrial equipment Papa had sold them during his retirement liquidation. They were still operating, still successful. They'd probably hoped the debt died with him. They were wrong. I spent that night in a cheap hotel, planning. The next morning, I hired a lawyer, James Mitchell, who specialized in estate collections. He flipped through Papa's binder and nodded approvingly. Your grandfather kept impeccable records. Signed receipts, delivery confirmations, correspondence. This is all actionable. How long? Bonds we can cash immediately. Debts? Give me 2 months. I paid his retainer and drove back to Mom's house one last time. I couldn't think of it as home anymore. They were in the living room, Mom, Gerald, and Paige, who was filming herself with a ring light. Just authentically sharing my entrepreneurial journey with my followers, she was saying. She stopped when she saw me. Marcus. She used her camera voice, bright and artificial. Hey, about the compass thing, I'm planning a whole apology video. Save it. I turned to Mom and Gerald. I'm moving out. Today. Don't be ridiculous, Mom said. Over a misunderstanding? Over betrayal. Over you choosing them repeatedly. Over you letting her steal from me because you think I'm less deserving than she is. Where will you even go? Gerald asked, probably calculating if they could rent my room to another of Paige's influencer friends. Not your concern. Paige stood, switching to her sincere voice. I'll tag you in my apology post. Give you a shout out. I want $500. Cash. For the attempted theft. My lawyer will contact you. Lawyer? Mom's voice went thin. Marcus, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious. Your grandfather would be ashamed, she said coldly. Turning on family like this. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw clearly for the first time, the woman who'd stood by while her new family dismantled my inheritance, piece by piece. My grandfather, I said clearly, left me more than you ever knew. And the only thing he'd be ashamed of is that I let this go on as long as I did. I packed my belongings. Not much, really. Most of what mattered fit in my car. The compass went back in my pocket where it belonged. As I loaded the last box, Mom came out. You'll regret this. I looked at her one last time. The only thing I regret is not finding that storage unit sooner. I drove away and didn't look back. The bonds cashed out at $81,000. They'd matured better than Papa calculated. James recovered $28,000 of the documented debts within 8 weeks. Morrison Restaurant Supply paid in full immediately to avoid a lawsuit that would expose their practice of not paying estates. Paige's jewelry line never materialized. She spent what followers she had making vague posts about family betrayal and toxic relatives. Her audience didn't care. Gerald called once, asking if I could help out with Paige's credit card debt. I hung up. Mom tried reaching out through relatives, painting me as the ungrateful son who abandoned family over an old compass. I sent them all the same response, a photo of the police report with Paige's name highlighted. The calls stopped. I used Papa's money as a down payment on a small condo in the neighborhood where he'd built his first restaurant. Nothing fancy, but good bones, as he would have said. I kept his wok in my kitchen, the dragon handle polished and proud. The compass sits on my dresser, pointing steadily north. Sometimes I open the secret compartment just to read the letter again, to remind myself it's real, that Papa really did plan ahead, really did protect me even after he was gone. The treasure isn't gold, it's knowing your worth. Papa knew that. He knew the compass would matter to me not for its monetary value, but for what it represented, all the time we spent together, all the wisdom he'd shared, all the sacrifices he'd made to give me a foundation. He also knew something else, that eventually, someone would try to take it from me. So he made sure that even if they took the compass, they couldn't take what really mattered. The direction to choose my own path. The direction to stand up for myself. The direction to realize I'd always been worthy of respect. The compass is mine again. But more importantly, I've found my way. And I'm done letting people who don't value me tell me which direction to go. I keep Papa's compass with me always now. Not in a bag where it can be stolen, but in my pocket, close to my heart. Sometimes I take it out and watch the needle settle, always finding north no matter how I turn it. That's what Papa gave me. Not just an heirloom, but the unwavering certainty that I deserve better. That I always did. And that's a legacy worth more than any inheritance.